Well, we got the 700 in the shop. That means some big things are gonna be happening to it. A lot of hydraulic stuff. You guys remember we left off? We didn't quite get the hydraulics remotes working properly. They were CAN bus systems, and we were trying to do binary input systems to run them, but we've made some contact with some very knowledgeable people, and they gave us a lot of information and are really helping us out. We're gonna jump on that soon. So we're gonna get this thing ready for air drills. But haven't quite gotten to that point yet. We're still just kind of figuring out some small details. So while we're doing that, and the Bud's in here, I'm gonna fix another problem. And this, it's really not actually a problem, but it potentially could cause problems. Remember the Logan clutch? This runs the PT on the grain cart. The Logan clutch runs on an air pressure engaged system, and you need about 110 PSI to fully engage the Logan clutch. Well, because the air tank on this tractor isn't huge, you use the air brakes, honk the horn, whatever it may be, there's a potential to drop that air pressure below the 110 pounds, which could theoretically cause the clutch packs to disengage until that pressure builds up again, which would cause slipping and potential wear. So we don't want that. So we're like, well, we got to make a fail safe. So what we're gonna do, we've got this little dinky, tiny air tank. Isn't that cute? Gonna mount that in here somewhere, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna run supply from our air tank, our main air tank, into this, and then it'll, before it enters this, it'll go through a check valve, which is right here, this check valve. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna go from primary tank through a check valve is gonna go into this tank, and then from this tank, we'll then supply the Logan clutch. And what that'll do is if for some reason we drain the air out of our main system, the check valve will prevent this tank from running out. This tank should always supply 120 PSI to the Logan clutch. Make sense? So let's figure out where I'm gonna put this tank. Let's figure out the plumbing and do a little modifying here and get this, I almost said wired in, plumbed in. And then that way it does a fail safe to protect the Logan clutch so that we don't ever accidentally drain the air system and cause it to slip while it's running. I know we're not gonna be running this Logan clutch till harvest, but it's a good time to do this while we're in the shop. Might as well get it done. Got the parts, let's go. Tentatively thinking, using the bracket at the bottom of this tank, and there's a ATF filled bolt hole there that's threaded on the top of the transmission block. We're just not using that right now, but some of it drained in from this pump when we were adding fluid to it. But making a bracket, having that stick out, and bolting this right here. I don't think it's gonna be in the way of anything. And then that way it's easy to run the supply line, the check valve into this tank, and then out of the tank over up to the top of the Logan clutch. It's even got a little gauge too I can put on it too, so I might do that as well. But let's build a bracket. We'll put it there for the time being. It's easy to change out if I don't like that, but I think that's a good fit for it. Looking for a piece that's heavy enough. That's not big enough. No, could use angle iron. Yeah. Take a look here. I think that'll work. That's what I need. What die are we? That one right there is beautiful. I think I got it. Let's take a look. So So I was wrong originally. I didn't want to tie off this line. I need the tank to be before Logan clutch valve and pressure sender. So basically, positive pressure coming off the main tank down here out of this T goes into the check valve. Check valve does not allow air to flow backwards, so it pressurizes this up to the whatever the max pressure that tank gets to. And then there's a pet talk at the bottom in case I gotta get the water out of it, if there ever is any in it. And then this line comes over and then feeds the Logan clutch valves, which then feeds the Logan clutch. So this will always replenish as soon as it depletes below whatever the main tank is. But once this is pumped up to 100 and some PSI, you engage the Logan clutch, there's nothing to drain this down in case that system drains down. This will stay there, keep this thing running, so perfect. And then it'll always bleed off. When you disengage this, it'll blow the air out of this line, but it'll keep this pressurized here. Make sense? All right. I guess I can let the cab down. Move on to the next thing.
Okay, what I've got going on here is I brought an old auger bottom frame. It was a 6-inch Mayrath. Probably got to be in the 60s. It was actually when my dad and uncle bought this place that we built the shop and all that in my house. It was his, and so I've just taken a few parts off it. This is one here. I really don't need too strong, too heavy a gauge for a hitch. I'm not going to be hitched to it. I'm too much of an old dog. This sled isn't going to go that far. So anyway, but I do have the auger built. As far as the hopper, I'm going to clean it up, and of course all this will be painted. We did get the lining lengthened. I had to add a piece of that length onto it, and as you weld, it was carefully you welded it, but then when we rotated it, it was actually bent a little bit, pulled from the heat weld, so we cut it down part way, stretched it, tacked it. Finally, through the process, we finally got it to be a good circle. I'll take these off. I don't need to be incognito. That's a big word for me, isn't it? So what we got doing is we've got these stub, let's see, well, it's actually one of those wheels over there. A stub spindle right here. And this is going to be the axle across the two wheels. And so he's cleaning up the inside with a boring bar to make it fit that hub. So it's a 1 5/8 spindle, and that pipe is a 2-inch with the wall, and so I'll probably only need to knock off hardly a 1/16 all the way around, maybe a little more to be able to, to fit in there with not too much wobble. Talking about wobble, I'm getting to that point. Okay, so that's what I got to do. I got to build the undercarriage frame for this auger, and we'll tie it, and then a lift mechanism, the standard here to raise the height of the auger. It really doesn't need to be very high because it's going to dump into a conveyor, which probably you can lift that conveyor up anywhere you want, but it needs to be this long because wheels will sit. Some are right here because it has to stick in between hopper bin legs, and the narrowest ones we have they're roughly about 15 and a half, 16 foot, the smallest ones in diameter, which make, let's just say 8, but you got to go past the hopper cone, so let's just say 10 to clear, so you can't have anything wider in that one than 38 inches wide. So right here, these here wherever the axle is and it pushes forth needs to be 10 feet from here to roughly in this area, and then make sure that the two sway bars, which keeps the whole end of the auger tied to the axle, make sure that it is no more than what can slide in there so we can get the full depth. The other hoppers are not a problem, but we do have a couple that are smaller. All right, well, get this built, that built, and then I've got electric motor in that box. I've got the pulleys that need to be put in there. I need to wrap this with belting on the top edge and bolt it on so that it can kind of keep the splash wind and also flexibility to stick underneath there. And then we got that girl. We're doing some mods to it that you're going to see. That's going to be great. It's going to be an awesome. And that will be working this spring in about another 2.5, 3 weeks, maybe.
Well, last fall, when we had this tractor about ready to roll out, we ran into a snag with the hydraulics, and that was we couldn't get the remotes. The remotes are the valves that run all these back there to work. We bought a PVG 120 and Danfoss, and it's got one PVEO and 3 PVEH valves on it. And we come to find out they're a bus system valve, not a binary rocker switch. We had to figure out a way to control those, and we didn't know what to do. So I sent out a post or a couple posts, and I said, hey, all you Danfoss people out there, send us an email, let us know. And a lot of you did. Thank you very much. A number of you did. Got a lot of insight, a lot of direction, a lot of contacts, and that was great. And one of them contacted us, and that was Tom and Jay at SunSource, and they set us up with this box right here. This is a patella from Danfoss. It's a 4x3 resolution, so it's a touch screen, as well as a controller. The controller we knew was something we needed, but we didn't know where to go from that. The problem is, okay, you get a controller. Well, that's great, but you gotta program the controller to talk to everything. So with that PVG 120, the Danfoss Pantella 4.3 monitor, and the controller, as well as some rocker switches we'll talk about in a minute, we now have the ability to communicate to our remotes. And that is awesome. So a friend of Tom's by the name of John did the programming for this, and he set it up exactly how our setup needs to be. So this way, now, with the screen, like the newer tractors out there, you'll be able to go in and toggle the pressures to each remote, or the percentage the remotes are open and closed, which will be pretty nice. So no longer will it be like, you know, trying to regulate the flow with a valve or a hand valve or however we've done in the past to control our fan speed on our cart. You'll be able to go in here and just go and just set the speed to the RPMs that you need on your fan. And these right here are a set of rocker switches you can use for remotes. You can do on, off. And these are from HMI Systems, and that is Dave. Dave helped set that up as well. So there's a number of people that went together to help get this product or this package put together for us. So we're pretty excited about this. It's gonna make it really nice. Now we don't have to worry about returning a $6,000 valve body that we can't return.
Well, we put hydraulic oil through it, so we really can't return it.
That's true. It's got paint scratches on it, and we painted it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this is because they programmed it to our settings with this controller, we're able to take the joystick that we bought with the controls on it and send the signal into this box, which then tells the valves to do whatever it needs to do. So we'll have all of our lifting controls. We'll have, we're also gonna run like the PTO through this. So then that way, if you don't wanna, if you happen to hit the PTO switch and you don't want the PTO to be on when you're seating, you can disable it on here, so it's a safety feature, which is kind of nice. So they actually did quite a few things, but what I have to do is I gotta take the pins here and I gotta add pins from the joystick to each one of these locations and then go through a few things, but they made it super easy to figure it all out. They literally made custom sheets for us. I mean, this is awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, this is amazing.
And he's been about a phone call away for quite a bit of this. Yeah. Constantly talking to this guy.
It's been awesome.
We're learning a lot.
Like, man, I wish we could have talked to you like years ago. This guy, Tom, he knows his stuff.
It's awesome. And you can also expand this out to 8 remotes if you want. We're just doing 4 with our setup because that's currently what our air drills need. But if you're running a big old air drill and you got multiple fans and everything else, you can stack a bunch of remotes on there and continue to use them all. So it'll be another screen in the tractor, but it'll give us a lot of information and control over the hydraulics. And any more in farming, hydraulics is a critical part of the operation.
But what's nice too is if you have a fault, you can see fault codes and it'll kind of give you an idea what's going on, where you can go from on the monitor. So it should be a sweet system for what we're doing. And I think the accuracy for our flow to the fan is going to be a lot more precise than just a dial on like a valve body. So it's going to be nice.
And he's helping set us up too to swap out the one remote that we have on that PVG 120 that we thought we were going to have the fan. Turns out it was only like a 12-gallon valve or something.
It's just an on-off. It doesn't have the variable rate.
Yeah, and we need one that can variable open and close to regulate the speed of the fan.
That's where he's like, I got you covered. So we'll put this on. This will allow it so that the monitor can control the flow for a fan.
And that valve body is way overkill in size. Like the 120 gallon a minute valve body. So for what we're doing, it's awesome.
Each one of those remotes is 30 gallons roughly is what we figured on the 3 big ones. The other one, we're going to put a different, I think he said cartridge in it, or
cartridge, yeah.
I think it's a cartridge. You can pull the guts out and put a different flow in there, and it'll bump it up a little bit more because it's a little on the low side for our fan. And then once we get that, we'll be fine. So yeah, but we will have on all of the remotes variable hydraulic flow. And then you can also set too your parameters if you want it to lift fast, lift slow. You can set all that up. So if you really want to ease it out of the ground as you're lifting it out, or if you want to instantly do it, you can get it all figured out. And the nice thing about this is once you turn the power off, it saves it all. Turn it back on, back where you were.
It should be pretty nice.
So it's gonna be sweet.
So now he gets to figure out how to install it.
Yeah.
So Tom, be ready. Your phone's gonna ring in a lot. But yeah, we got some cool stuff. It'll be pretty neat when it's fired up here. But this is the major step for us to get this tractor to do any kind of farm work besides hauling a grain cart around. And actually, running the cart itself, we kind of needed this setup too. We were able to kind of jimmy rig it, I guess you could say, to make it work last year. But no, this is going to be better. So yeah,
it's gonna be awesome. So we're going to finish the cab inside, get a little bit more wiring to do, finish out the dash, get this all installed, and then we should be able to go out there and try it.
Yeah, we're getting close. All right.
All right, I'm back in the big bud. So this corner here had a bunch of wires, tons and tons of wires, trying to get it to work last year. What? Oh, never mind. He's putting a really cool like hood ornament, you know, kind of like the angel wings, you know, or whatever. The swan. Actually, we should probably put something on here. No, he's just touching up the radiator cap. It got a slight seep in it, so he's fixing that. But anyways, you want to see the wad of wires that I pulled out of this thing that I don't need? Yeah, there's a few. Because some buddies of ours knew what they were doing and how to fix this up with all the programming and good stuff. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to take this is the controller to run all the hydraulics. This is the brain box, basically, or switch box. That's a good way to put it, switch box. I think I'm going to mount it right here alongside the wall down below. It's out of your knees from hitting it. You can still access it if you need to. And then I'm going to run the wires underneath down below, tie it in. So I got to go from the hydraulic valve bodies, which is all of these right here. So these wires I got to take, get the right pins, put them in the butt connector that goes into this, and then from here I got to go to the monitor, which they already have it all wired, but I do have to go from here to the joystick so I have all my hand controls. So we are using the joystick that I went and found. I think it's going to work out pretty well because we basically just need 3 hydraulic valves to go up and down for running the implement. You still have your PTO on and off, your horn, your GPS, all that good stuff. So yeah, there's a few things to do. So I think after I drilled the holes, let's mount this thing on, and then I got to figure out the wiring and just do some crimp ends, cut it, and put some loom, get it nice and pretty. And then the next step after I get all that in, I got to figure out where to put the monitor that runs the GP or all the hydraulics. I don't know if I'll put it on the armrest, probably not. I don't want it in the way. We might stick it up here, maybe down here. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. And then obviously we have those rocker arms that I need to figure out what I want to do with it too. If we want to put them up here for something, or if you want to put them down here on your armrest, I don't know. Still some planning, but we'll get this figured out. Shouldn't be too shabby. He's going to put the bolts through the outside, and I'm going to tighten them from the inside. Up, pull it out. There we go. Now push it through.
Okay, well, I've made some progress on this transfer auger that comes out of the bin that I'm going to hook the treater to. So what I've done is I was trying to decide, I wanted that to be able to roll easy, you know, because it's kind of hard to get underneath the hopper bins and try to pull something. So I'll finish that, fix a hitch on it, a place, and then I can just take a rope and then just hook it and then just drag it into place. That'll be easy to roll it. I think if the ground's hard, I probably can just roll it in without that. But anyway, it has coaster wheels just to make it easier so it doesn't just drag on the ground. And I've got to make the housing for the spray nozzle of the treat to treat down into the grain to start the process of treating the grain. I've got the hopper pretty much finished out. I was trying to debate whether to have this adjustable height, but this is only being used when we use the conveyor because the conveyor can't treat grain. The grain just drops in it and it just goes up without tumbling and then drops into the seed cart. So this is what this is for, but that's a low profile, and so I really don't want it way up in the air. So I finally decided just keep it simple, you know, simple minds, maybe does simple things. So I decided just to go ahead and make it permanent. Now, for some reason we decide, you know, we want it adjustable. I don't know what it would be. I can easily cut that off and then build the uprights. And I actually bought a little ratchet mechanism for a ratchet strap so that, you know, we could use that. But I decided, you know, I'm just going to keep it like this. I've got to make the funnel to funnel the grain coming out of the head of the auger. And then, but what I think I'll do now, well, I'll decide. I was thinking about doing the motor mount. It's in that box. And so I you know, trying to decide, you know, we've got that to do, that to do, that to do. I'm a do. Well, sometimes a done. Okay, so anyway, I'll make a decision here and then you'll come aboard and help me. I need the help.
So we're here at what we call the Quonset. This is the old original farm building. This was the first building that, I guess you can't say the first, but the first metal building that Welker Farms had put up. My grandpa put this up with his brother. And this was our original shop yard. They didn't have electricity, they just had a generator. And then eventually we moved the yard over to over there where we had power. So we are gonna get the blue peat, we call it the repeat. We're getting this guy out and we're gonna unhook the 42-foot Demco steel trailer and hook onto the haul. Because the haul is a great addition to the farm seating equipment lineup. It's eliminated 2 of our tandems that were really old and thrashed and beat. Oh man, look at this thing. Look at all the wind we've had. It's literally blown dirt in all the cracks and crevices. Yeah, go ahead. Got a good old run on 3406 B-Cat in it. Fully rebuilt for the most part. I mean, I shouldn't say fully rebuilt. It was rebuilt prior to our previous truck we added in, but we had a lot of other stuff done to it. It's a good running engine. Probably 4.5 horse, 4 1/4, somewhere in that area. So we're gonna drop this trailer, leave it in here, get this out. Don't be using this. That's our seat cleaner. Yeah, I gave it a nice paint job. Looks great. Oh. How do you manage that? Let's go get another auger. Slowly complete the piece of the puzzle. Every year. Get everything out, get it all ready, run it, put it away. Get it out, get everything ready, run it, put it away. Every year. I think the Pete's ready and serviced. Let's go grab that haul. He forgot to unhook the brakes.
Okay, well, back at the project after a couple days. So what I've got done here, I'll show you on this treating auger. It's a short transfer treating auger. All right, I've got the motor hooked up. It runs. I've got the cage built for the treater. And then I just started painting it red. But I thought, you know, I better show you the before and after pictures. So what it looks like right now. And I just started painting. And I'll try to get it painted. I only got a little bit of time here. I got to get it red before I bed. That said, I think, yeah, it's not dead. Okay, well, I'm going to treat myself to saying I'm done with my treater. Got the treating tank and pump measuring system carried by the auger. It runs fairly smooth. There's a little bit of just bump in the side, but it'll smooth out when it's augering. I've got my valve shut off, main shut off valve. The treat will enter that, and we'll mix until it finally unloads. Then I'll have a video when we have it and using it here, probably in about within a week, I would say. But yeah, I've got a long extension cord with both ends. I left it for this welding plug, even though it's way overkill for this motor. There's times when we might need that extension cord to go out to weld something on the bins, and so then we don't have to switch ends. But the treater will be powered by the battery on the conveyor. So anyway, it's good to be done. On to the next.
Something I haven't done since we had Big Brute equipped with the weeded system is clean out all the NCVs. Those are nozzle control valves. And these little guys are what do the 60 hertz of pulsating when you're spraying down the field. I'm pretty sure it's 60 hertz. Is it 60 hertz? Or is it 40? Maybe it's 40. I don't know. It's a lot. They pulsate very quickly. And anyways, that's what lets you do turn compensation, speed up, slow down, and apply the correct rate as needed. NCV's been around a long time, but with the weeded system, they're critical because that's what turns each nozzle on and off to spray individual weeds, like psst, 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 you know, kind of like that. Yeah, that's critical. So when they're not functioning right, they leak, they don't kick on as fast as they should, they stay on, whatever it may be. It doesn't happen often, but they do. Well, I'm going through the painstaking process. This is only half of them. I've already gone through the other half. I've taken 140 some of these apart and putting them back together again, and taking them off the sprayer at 140 piece of times, and then taking them all apart and put it back on again. So yeah, it's fun. I'll show you what it's like. Just take them apart. Got a little plastic nut on the back here. I just got a socket I found that fits that real well. It's a 20 millimeter. Take the nut off, slide the housing out. Take that off, take the O-ring off. I gotta hold this with my shirt because it's a little bit tricky. And I've got a 1/4 inch in wrench that I use on the end here to grab it. Loosen it up. And here is the poppet. And that's what pulsates back and forth with electromagnet. And it pulsates this back and forth at, well, very fast, depending on what speed you're going and depending on what weeds it seeds. And sometimes that gets stuck in there. A little piece of dirt, something might gummy, get caught in there. So I like to take a sink, wash them all off, make sure it's all clear, and then reassemble like this. Grab my 1/4 inch wrench, tighten it up kind of snug, take the cap, put the O-ring on it, like so. Take this, put it through here, put my nut on the back, grab my 20 millimeter socket, just kind of tighten it up a little bit, snug, and we're good. That's all there is to it. Just do it 140 sometimes.